Hello, Maurieo Vlogs, number 283, Glen Massey. Hello, welcome. Well, today I'm going to head out to Glen Massey in the Bighorn. It needs a bit of a spin at least once a week, and the new battery's great. It starts first time after leaving it, so that's pretty awesome. Now, Glen Massey is a coal mining village. I've had a little bit to do with it over the years. In fact, long story, but I actually wiped out half the village when I did a survey because I removed all the lots that didn't have houses built on them. But yeah, I guess that's for surveyors only type story. So we're going to head out to Glen Massey, which is I guess to the south of Narrawahia. The last trip we went to the north to Huntly, so Glen Massey's more to the southwest, and we go down the Wainarrow Road. The Wainarrow Road takes us to Wainarrow. Now at Wainarrow there is some hot pools there that are naturally a geological type of hot pool that forms, and yeah, they're there. So a lot of people, including us when we had the kids, used to go out there, but they've got bumper boats out there, and they did have the steepest or the fastest or longest water slide in the southern hemisphere or something like that for a while. So we used to go out there every now and again, but it is well, in local terms, quite expensive, considerably more expensive than going to the beach or swimming in the river. But anyway, we're on our way and we're heading out there. I've just realised, unfortunately, that I should have cleaned the windscreen before I go, but I'll give you another update on that, because I've actually I was thinking this all the way out there and forgot that I actually had window washers. And so once I got out there for the return journey, I cleaned the windscreen so you get a better view. So yeah, you can see that we're going out here on a rural road. So these roads are slightly a lower sort of class of road than what I've been travelling on previously. So they are sort of narrower, seal, there's much more bends and winds in them. You know, the bush comes right down to the road, so they're a lower cost road because of a low traffic count, really. They don't get a lot of traffic coming out here. So yeah, and also this particular road is, you can see it's got some quite steep sides, and it's quite prone to slipping. So every now and again you'll see there's little bits of roadworks and that. We've had heavy rain the last couple of nights, so there may have been a couple of slips that have come down that they've cleared for traffic, and then they'll come back a bit later on and tidy them up. You can see a little bit of curb and channel there against the steep side. That's just to try and direct the water away from it rather than run it through a water table drain. Now, Glen Massey's a coal mining town, and there was actually a private railway line that ran from Narrawahia through to Glen Massey. And if you see those cars there, I'll just mention them a bit later. At some stage, the train, one of the trains got away, and it actually crashed into the river at Windy Creek, but the river I think is called Firewood Creek, and that might not be there, but they left part of the train in the actual river, and it's a bit of a swimming hole. So that some of the locals, I've never been there myself, but one of the guys I taught was on his grandfather's farm, and it's called the train crash. So on very hot days you often see some cars, but I always thought it was on the other side of the road, but that might be another swimming hole back there. But on very hot days, which it is hot today, you'll see the cars there, and people hop into the little swimming holes on the creek, and yeah, go for a swim just to cool down. So you can see this road here, this bit's just been going through the bush. Initially when I moved into this area, I looked at buying a house even south of the village there. But it's quite pleased I didn't, in a way, because this drive every day here, it's although it's very picturesque in that in the winter, in a fog and things like that, and with slips, and can quite slippery when it's wet, it can be quite problematical. But it is very picturesque, and I'm told it's the guys, a lot of guys, motorcyclists, like the ride out to here. So here we are, we're coming up to the Glen Massey village. I've done a few little 1 and 2 subdivisions. I think I did that house up there on the hill, and here we come round the corner, and we're into the village now. Don't blink or sort of look away, because you could very well miss it. So there's the Glen Massey village, and we're coming through it here, and there's a few houses here and there. And I think that I stopped my video here because we're going, in a subsequent video, we'll go up the Wilton Collieries Road. So that's Glen Massey. It's a little mining village. There was a couple of coal mines there. Generally it has no sewage, no reticulated sewage. They're on septic tanks. No water, they're on tank water. So sections were quite cheap. It was out of the way. Council requirements for entrance ways and things like that were sort of overlooked perhaps, or not as stringent. And so a lot of people went out there. They could get quite cheap living, but obviously the travel each day and the isolations. But gradually things have got more expensive out there. It's still a cheaper option as a place to live, but yeah, it has quite an interesting and quite close community out there. So yeah, we'll take some further look at in the subsequent videos of what's happening at Glen Massey. So here's today's background, which is obviously related to Glen Massey. In some obscure way that only I know, and you've got to find out. But this is a logo, quite a famous logo of a product, American product, and this is their logo with the name of the company removed, which would make the thing pretty easy. So this is just the logo. So if you can tell me what the logo is, the relationship clearly with Glen Massey will be quite clear. I think Glen, I haven't looked it up, I must look that up for next time. I think Glen is like a type, it means a valley, or a glen, the valleys and the glens, I think possibly related to Welsh, with the coal mining tradition and that there. But this logo here, now let's have a look at the Hall of Fame, or yesterday's one was this guy here, and his name is Ian Hardman, and he plays, I forgot to put the little brackets in today, he plays for a rugby league team in the English league called the Featherstone Rovers, and it's one of the older established small town teams that played in that competition. So Steeden is the name of the ball manufacturer for that competition. GMB Union, huge sponsors of the competition, and there. So there was a lot of clues in the jerseys and the colours and things there, and a little bit of detective work needed, and WT was able to get the facts and lined up, and he's identified it as Ian Hardman, one of their long-serving players, the Featherstone Rovers, and he's put some details in the comments below yesterday's video around that and the details there. So thanks very much for that work there, WT. I really appreciate it. So let's just have a little back to today's background, just a logo here. It's something related in a number of ways actually to the Glen Massey type situation. So in the comments below, Thanks very much for your comments, your likes, for subscribing to my channel, and yeah, the positive feedback that I get around the country that I live in. It's most pleasing. So if there is any questions that you have, or perhaps an area or something that you're aware of that might be quite close or handy to me, let me know, and I'll see if I can crank out a video or it's a bit of information, or find something out, a bit of local knowledge about it that might help you get a better understanding. And yeah, if you're coming down this way, by all means, let me know, and we'll see what we can organise. In New Zealand, we say that whereas the rest of the world have like 6 degrees of separation, so that means you sort of mention someone's name, and if you ask 6 questions, you'll probably find someone who knows them. In New Zealand, we have around about 2 degrees of separation. We're a very small country, and everybody knows everybody, so quite often you'll be talking and say, oh yeah, and you'll find out that you have something, a person in common, or something, an old boss that you've worked for here. So yeah, by all means, any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them and try and find out more information for you. So let's leave it there. Cheers! I'm just getting my mouse in the right place so that I can look at you and say cheers, or see you.